Subscribe to my YouTube channel, share it with your friends, and comment your thoughts. Her hands trembled as she held the small, blood-stained note, the words barely legible in the dim light of the airport's back corridor. The harsh, metallic clang of the door swinging open echoed behind her, and she didn't need to turn around to know who was coming. "Wait outside," the airline staff had told her moments ago, their voices cold, dismissive, and final. Jasmine had stood there, stunned, a black pilot with years of experience and pride in her career, suddenly reduced to an unwanted guest in the very company she had given her life to. But what happened next would shake the airline, and everyone who thought they understood her story, to its core. As the door creaked open, her heart hammered in her chest. She swallowed hard and slid the note into her pocket, the blood on her, fingers sticky and warm. "Did you read it?" The voice was low but sharp. It was Marcus, the head of operations. His eyes flickered with something Jasmine couldn't place, a mixture of fear and calculation. "I did," Jasmine said, her voice steady despite the storm raging inside her. "And I'm not leaving until you answer my questions." Marcus's jaw tightened. "You don't understand what you're getting into." "I understand more than you think." The silence stretched between them, thick and suffocating, before Marcus turned sharply and walked away. Jasmine's mind raced. Why had they asked her to wait outside? What was in that note? And who was bleeding in the first place? Her phone buzzed, violently in her pocket, yanking her back to reality. She pulled it out. 3 missed calls from a number she knew all too well. Her husband, the man she thought she knew. The screen lit up again with a message, then a video. Her breath caught. The video showed her husband, David, standing close to another woman. They were in the hospital ward where their newborn had just passed away a week earlier. He kissed the woman, softly, tenderly, just like he had kissed Jasmine on the day they married. The pain was a knife twisting in her chest, sharp and unforgiving. Jasmine's world, once so solid, was cracking in every direction. She blinked away tears and shoved the phone into her pocket. There was no time to fall apart. Not here, not now. This was only the beginning. The unseen battle Jasmine had dreamed of flying since she was a little girl, growing up in a small town where few dared to reach beyond their limits. Becoming one of the first black female pilots in a major airline had taken blood, sweat, and endless nights of battling stereotypes and prejudice. But nothing had prepared her for the invisible war she now found herself in, inside the very company that once celebrated her as a symbol of progress. The airline had been her second family, until today, as she sat alone in the quiet break room, replaying the events in her mind. The questions piled up like storm clouds. Why was the airline staff so hostile? Why had they ordered her to wait outside? What secret was Marcus hiding? She clenched her fists, remembering the note again. The blood wasn't hers. It was fresh. It smelled of iron and fear. Had someone been hurt? Or worse? Her phone buzzed again. Another message from an unknown number. "They're watching you. Be careful." Jasmine's pulse quickened. Was this a warning or a threat? She glanced around. The airport was busy with passengers and workers, but the atmosphere felt charged, as if everyone was holding their breath. She had no choice but to dig deeper. A hidden enemy. Her first call was to Elena, a close friend and fellow pilot who had always been a source of strength. "Elena, you won't believe what just happened," Jasmine whispered urgently. Elena's voice was calm but firm. "Tell me everything." Jasmine recounted the scene, the note, the blood, the order to wait outside, and the video on her phone. There was a pause. Then Elena said quietly, "Jasmine, this sounds bigger than just a workplace conflict. You're stepping into dangerous territory." "Tell me what you mean," Jasmine urged. Elena hesitated. "There's been talk about a cover-up at the airline, about an incident months ago they don't want anyone to know about. You might be the only one who can uncover the truth." Jasmine's mind raced. Could the blood-stained note be connected? The first clue determined, Jasmine decided to investigate on her own. She sneaked back to the corridor where she had been told to wait. The floor was still sticky where the blood had pooled. Her fingers brushed over a scuffed tile, and something caught her eye. A faint set of numbers scratched into the metal frame of the door. It was a code. 1428. She snapped a photo and sent it. To Elena. Within minutes, Elena replied, "That's a maintenance room code. They keep old flight records and employee files there." Jasmine's heart pounded. The pieces were falling into place. A rising storm back at home. The video on her phone haunted her. David's betrayal cut deeper than any professional attack. The grief of losing their baby and the sting of his secret relationship with another woman tore through her. Her phone buzzed again. A text from David. "We need to talk. Please come home." Jasmine hesitated. How could she face him when everything was unraveling? Jasmine sat on the edge of her bed, the soft glow of the bedside lamp doing little to pierce the darkness swirling inside her mind. The room was quiet except for the faint hum of the city outside and the steady rhythm of her phone buzzing in her hand. The messages from David were piling up. "Please, Jasmine, we need to talk. I know things have been hard, but I'm here. I'm sorry." She wiped her eyes, the sting of grief still fresh from the loss of their baby, the betrayal she had witnessed, and the growing mystery at her workplace. She wasn't sure what was worse, the private heartbreak or the public battle brewing in the airline. A dangerous decision. The coded message from the maintenance room haunted her. Elena had warned her not to get involved too deeply. But Jasmine felt a fire ignite inside her. This was bigger than just a job. It was about truth, justice. She had to know what was hidden in that maintenance room. The next morning, Jasmine arrived at the airport early, hours before her shift. The terminal buzzed with its usual chaos, passengers dragging suitcases, flight. Attendants calling out boarding announcements, mechanics rushing between gates. But Jasmine's focus was sharp. She slipped past the staff checkpoint when no one was looking and made her way to the door with the code 1428. She pulled out her phone and quickly entered the numbers on the keypad. The lock beeped twice, then clicked open. Inside, the forbidden room. The room was cramped, dusty, and dimly lit by a single flickering bulb overhead. Rows of filing cabinets lined the walls, covered in decades of dust and grime. In the center was a small desk cluttered with papers, binders, and a flickering computer screen. Jasmine's breath caught. This was the vault of secrets. She moved toward the desk, eyes scanning the files. Most were old flight logs and maintenance records. But then she spotted a small folder marked Confidential Incident Report 27. Her fingers trembled as she pulled it open. Inside were photos, grainy, disturbing images from an accident months ago, a flight attendant lying unconscious, a pilot with a swollen face, and a tangled mass of cables from the cockpit. But what shocked her most was a handwritten note attached to the folder. "Do not disclose under penalty of termination." The cover-up Jasmine's mind raced. She remembered Elena's words about a cover-up, what had happened on that flight, and why had the airline tried to bury it. Her phone buzzed again, breaking the tense silence. A new message from the unknown number. "Stop digging, Jasmine, they're watching." Her heart thundered. The stakes had just skyrocketed. She carefully snapped photos of the documents and shut the folder. Betrayal, closer than she thought. As Jasmine exited the room, her phone rang. It was Eleanor. "Did you find anything?" Eleanor's voice was urgent. "Yes," Jasmine whispered. "Files, photos, something big. Elena, we have to be careful. If they're watching us, we could be in serious danger." "I know," Elena replied, "but this is why I warned you. The airline has powerful people protecting this secret." Jasmine's fingers tightened around the phone. She had to decide, keep digging or back off. A fractured home later that evening, Jasmine faced the hardest battle yet. She sat across from David in their dimly lit kitchen, the air thick with unsaid words and broken dreams. "Why didn't you tell me about her?" Jasmine's voice cracked. David looked away, guilt etched deep into his face. "I was trying to protect you." "Protect me? After everything? After the baby?" His silence was the loudest answer. The trust between them shattered and unexpected. Alley days passed, and Jasmine's world tilted further out of control. But then a surprise. Marcus, the head of operations, the same man who had told her to wait outside, sent her a private message. "Meet me at the old hangar tonight." Alone, Jasmine debated. Could he be a friend or the enemy? Curiosity won. The meeting at the hangar. The hangar was cold and empty when Jasmine arrived. Marcus stood by an old jet, the shadows masking his face. "I know why you're here," he said quietly. "And you're right. There's a lot you don't know." Jasmine's heart pounded. "Then tell me." Marcus glanced around nervously. "The incident you saw in the files, it wasn't an accident. It was sabotage." Jasmine's breath caught. Sabotage? But why? Because someone wanted to hide a bigger crime, something that could ruin the company and end careers. "Who?" Jasmine demanded. Marcus shook his head. "I don't know yet, but I'm trying to find out. You need to be careful." The shadows close in as. Jasmine left the hangar. A chill ran down her spine. Her phone buzzed again. Another text from the unknown number. "You're playing with fire, walk away." But Jasmine couldn't. The deeper she dug, the more the lines between friend and foe blurred. The price of truth. The night felt colder than usual as Jasmine stepped into her apartment. The shadows from the streetlights cast long shapes across the floor, but she barely noticed. Her mind was racing, consumed by the revelations from the hangar, the ominous warnings, and the growing distance between her and David. She locked the door behind her, leaning against it for a moment, fighting the exhaustion that threatened to swallow her whole. The weight of everything, betrayal, grief, suspicion, pressed down hard. Her phone buzzed, jolting her from the haze. It was a message from Elena. "Be careful who you trust. I have info that might change everything." A secret meeting, 2 hours. Later, Jasmine was sitting in a quiet cafe on the outskirts of town, a place far from prying eyes. Eleanor slid into the seat opposite her, eyes sharp and wary. "I've been digging," Eleanor said, her voice barely above a whisper. "There's more to the incident than just sabotage. It's connected to something called Project Phoenix." Jasmine frowned. "Project Phoenix?" Elena nodded. "It's a covert operation within the airline. Officially, it doesn't exist. Unofficially, it's about smuggling sensitive cargo disguised as routine flights." Jasmine's stomach twisted. "Are you saying the airline is involved in illegal activities?" Elena looked around nervously before answering. "Not just the airline. Certain powerful people inside and outside the company. Betrayal cuts deep. The pieces began to fall together. Why the airline was so desperate to cover up the incident, why Marcus was so cautious, and why Jasmine had been ordered to wait outside like a criminal. Her phone buzzed again. This time, it was a video message from David. Jasmine's hands shook as she pressed play. David appeared on the screen, tears streaming down his face. "Jasmine, I'm sorry for everything," he said. "There's something you need to know. I've been scared to tell you, but it's time. The woman you saw, she's part of all this. She's involved with people who want to hurt us." Jasmine's heart pounded. "Who?" she whispered to the empty room. David's face twisted in pain. "Her name is Vanessa, and she's more dangerous than you think." A threat emerges. The next morning, Jasmine received a knock on her door. When she opened it, no one was there, just a small envelope on the floor. Inside was a photo of Jasmine and Elena taken from a distance, along with a note Stop now, or next time it won't be a warning. Fear surged through her veins, but so did determination. She wasn't backing down. Allies and enemies, Jasmine called Marcus. "I got the photo," she said. "This is serious." Marcus's voice was grim. "You need protection. I can arrange something discreet." "No," Jasmine said firmly. "I don't want to be silenced. I want answers." "Then be ready," Marcus warned, "because once you cross this line, there's no going back." The double game A's. Jasmine prepared for the storm ahead. She realized one terrible truth. Vanessa wasn't just involved with dangerous people. She was someone Jasmine had trusted once, a close colleague and friend. The betrayal cut deeper than any wound. Walking into the trap. The call came at midnight. Jasmine's phone vibrated sharply against the bedside table. She stared at the screen, an unknown number flashing ominously. Her fingers hesitated, then she answered. A voice, distorted and cold, whispered, "You think you know the truth, but you're walking into a trap. Stop before it's too late." Then the line went dead. Jasmine's breath caught. Her heart pounded, adrenaline flooding her veins. This wasn't just a warning anymore. It was a threat. Haunted by shadows, sleep abandoned her that night. Images from the files, the video from David, the notes, the threatening calls. They circled her mind like vultures. She sat up and stared at the ceiling. Wrestling with fear and resolve, her world was unraveling, but retreat was no longer an option. If anything, she needed allies. Turning to Marcus early the next day, Jasmine called Marcus. "I need protection," she said, voice firm despite the turmoil. "I already arranged it," Marcus replied. "2 discreet men will be watching over you from today. You're not alone." "Why are you helping me?" Jasmine asked, suspicion laced in her tone. Marcus hesitated. "Because I believe in the truth, and because I'm tired of the lies." Vanessa's. Jasmine's thoughts returned to Vanessa. She had trusted her once, confided in her. Could Vanessa really be behind all this? She needed answers. Using what little she knew, Jasmine decided to confront Vanessa. The confrontation. Jasmine found Vanessa at a cafe downtown, sipping coffee as if the world wasn't crashing around them. "Vanessa," Jasmine said quietly, sliding into the seat opposite her. Vanessa's eyes flicked up, surprise flashing across her face before she masked it with a cold smile. "To what do I owe the pleasure?" Vanessa asked smoothly. Jasmine didn't waste time. "I know what you're involved in. Project Phoenix, the sabotage, the cover-up." Vanessa's smile faded. "You have no idea what you're talking about." "Don't lie," Jasmine pressed. "David said you're dangerous, that you're involved with people who want to hurt us." Vanessa leaned forward, voice low and venomous. "David is weak. He's scared. And you're naive if you think this is about him or me. This is bigger than any of us." Jasmine swallowed. "Then what is it about?" Vanessa's eyes glittered. "Power, control, and survival." Uncovering the truth, Jasmine left the cafe with a heavy heart. Vanessa was no longer just a colleague. She was an enemy. But the words power, control, and survival echoed in her mind. She needed more. That night, she met with Elena again. Together, they pored over the files Jasmine had found, piecing together the puzzle. A secret alliance. Elena's research uncovered a disturbing fact. Project Phoenix wasn't just smuggling. It was linked to powerful political figures and corporations laundering money through airline routes. And Vanessa was a key player in the operation. Jasmine's stomach twisted with betrayal. Danger closes. Days later, Jasmine's apartment was broken into. Nothing was stolen, but drawers were pulled open, papers scattered, and her phone tampered with. The message was clear: back off or pay the price. Marcus's security detail intensified, but Jasmine refused to live in fear. Breaking point, her personal. Life continued to crumble. David's messages became desperate, begging her to forgive him, to come back. But trust was shattered. The grief of their lost child was a wound that refused to heal. The web titan's Jasmine stared at the photo slipped under her door. It was taken from afar, her silhouette framed in the dim light of the maintenance room's entrance. Someone had been watching her every move. The message was chilling. Not everyone is who they seem. Her breath hitched. Who among her trusted circle was playing a double game? Was it Marcus, Eleanor, or someone even closer? Trust shattered Jasmine's mind reeled as she replayed every conversation, every glance, every smile she had shared in recent weeks. Doubt began to gnaw at her, eating away the last vestiges of security she once felt. She dialed Elena's number with trembling fingers. "Elena, I found the photo," Jasmine said, voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know who I can trust anymore." There was a long silence. Finally, Eleanor spoke, her voice firm. "We have to keep going. The truth is too important. We just have to be more careful." A new lead, determined not to let fear control her, Jasmine threw herself into the investigation. Late one night, she sifted through hundreds of emails and scanned flight manifests she'd secretly accessed from the maintenance room files. Her eyes caught a name recurring over and over: Victor Kane. A quick search revealed he was a powerful businessman with rumored ties to illegal operations and political corruption. And disturbingly, Vanessa's name was linked to his network. The sting operation. Jasmine and Elena decided to set a trap. They planned to use Vanessa's greed against her. They sent an anonymous tip, hinting that Jasmine had uncovered evidence of the entire Project Phoenix operation, including financial transactions linking Kane and Vanessa. The bait was set. Betrayal unmasked. A few days later, Jasmine received a call from Vanessa herself. "I know you're stirring trouble," Vanessa hissed. "Back off, or your secrets will be exposed." Jasmine's voice was steady. "I'm not scared anymore." That night, Jasmine noticed a shadow lurking near her apartment. Her security detail was alerted, but the intruder vanished before they could intervene. The trap was closing. But was Vanessa already one step ahead? David's confession amid the chaos. David reached out again, asking to meet. Jasmine was hesitant, but she agreed. In a quiet park, David confessed everything. "I was forced into silence," he said, voice shaking. "Vanessa threatened me, and the baby. I didn't know how to protect you." Tears welled up in Jasmine's eyes. The pain of betrayal mingled with relief. They parted with no promises, only a fragile truce. The final puzzle piece. Elena discovered a secret ledger hidden deep. Within the files, detailed transactions, dates, and names. It was the smoking gun they needed to bring down Project Phoenix. But before they could act, Elena disappeared. Jasmine's calls went unanswered. Panic clawed at her chest. "Rise from the ashes." Jasmine's hands shook as she stared at the message. On her phone, "If you want Elena back, stop digging, or she pays the price." Her chest tightened, a storm of fear and fury battling inside her. She was standing at the edge of a precipice, and the only way forward was through the darkness. Plan of courage. Jasmine knew backing down meant losing Elena forever and letting Project Phoenix continue unchecked. But charging blindly risked losing everything else. She took a deep breath, steadying herself. She would fight, but she would do it smart. She called Marcus. "Eleanor's been taken," she said, voice firm. "I'll help. We'll bring her back." Marcus promised. Together they began to plan a rescue operation. The intel led them to an abandoned warehouse on the city outskirts, a place dark with secrets. Marcus and Jasmine arrived under cover of night, flanked by trusted security. Inside, the air was thick and cold. Jasmine's heart pounded as she searched every shadow. Then, A muffled cry, a faint sound from behind a locked door. Marcus broke. The lock open. There was Elena, bruised but alive. Relief washed over Jasmine like a wave. "Are you okay?" Jasmine whispered, helping her friend to her feet. Elena nodded, tears in her eyes. "We have to finish this." Exposing the truth armed with the secret ledger and Elena's testimony, Jasmine and Marcus contacted a trusted investigative journalist. The story broke the next morning. The airline's covert operation, Project Phoenix, the smuggling, the sabotage, the cover-ups, all laid bare. Public outrage exploded. Investigations launched. Powerful people began to fall. The reckoning. Vanessa was arrested. Her carefully crafted facade shattered. David testified against her, freeing himself from her shadow. Jasmine faced the airline's board, demanding accountability. The company pledged reforms, but Jasmine knew the scars would remain. Healing and forgiveness. The battle had cost Jasmine dearly. Her marriage was broken, her trust betrayed. But through the pain, she found something new, a fierce strength and clarity. One evening, standing under a vast sky, Jasmine whispered to herself, "Sometimes, losing everything is the only way to find who you really are." She was no longer just a pilot or a victim. She was a survivor, a warrior, a woman reborn from ashes, a new beginning. Months later, Jasmine flew a plane full of hopeful passengers, the sun rising behind her. Her phone buzzed, a message from Elena. "We did it. The truth is free." Jasmine smiled, eyes bright. The journey had been brutal, but the fight had been worth it. She glanced out the window as the plane soared, the horizon wide and full of promise. Her story was over, but her life, her true life, was just beginning. Hörn das haben.